There I am. Okay. Sorry, you guys. I had some technical difficulties. This happens. It's always a learning process. So, hi, I'm Joanna with Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching. It is Thursday, Thursday, June 18th, 2020. And we are going to be talking a lot about sleep. And I've gotten a few questions today, and I also kind of wanted to dedicate today to talking about newborns. So we're going to definitely spend some time on talking about that. So let me just give a couple of ground rules for my Facebook Live so that those of you that are tuning in or watching later have a point of context for today's conversation. So again, I'm Joanna with Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching, and I'm a gentle sleep coach. I am trained and certified with Kim West, who wrote Good Night, Sleep Tight. I have been a gentle sleep coach for 10 years, so I definitely consider myself a tenured sleep coach because I have worked with thousands of families over the years to help them get beautiful, blissful sleep. And I am doing these Facebook Lives because there are so many families that have questions about sleep, and I really am aiming to be the place to come to get reliable and accurate information. Because I know how confusing it is to be Googling this and Googling that and reading different articles and asking your friends and family, and just really getting to the point where you're like, I just need to talk to somebody. I just need to ask this question and get a point of view and to get more details on how I can manage my particular sleep situation. And so I've started coming in live on Thursdays at 2 p.m. so that people can submit their questions in advance. And that way I can give some time to be thoughtful in my answers, because again, I want to be accurate. I want to be specific. I want to give a more holistic viewpoint for you, so you have more to consider and more options to consider when you're making some of the changes regarding how to improve sleep in your house. So with that being said, I just wanted to kind of warn everybody in advance. As I mentioned, today is Thursday, June 18th. Next week, which would be Thursday, June 25th, I am not going to be doing a Facebook Live. Next week is my birthday. I'm turning 50. And I have decided that I'm going to give that myself a couple of days off. So I hope you guys can acknowledge and appreciate that. And so the next time I'll be doing a Facebook Live is on July 2nd at 2 p.m. Pacific. And therefore that gives all of you who might be listening to this in the replay lots of opportunity to submit the form and get a chance to get those questions into me so that I can be really specific and answer your questions. So with that being said, today I have Anastasia here with me. Anastasia is my fabulous virtual assistant, and she's also a mom of a beautiful 12-month-old baby girl. And Anastasia is going to be helping me by, when I'm making a reference point of any resources that I want to provide to you guys, she'll post them in the chat. So Anastasia, if you could just right now, before I forget, post how people can submit their questions in advance so that on Thursday, July 2nd, they can definitely know to tune in and to get their questions answered. I also wanted to let you know that I always will, Facebook Live will always remain on my Facebook page, but I'm also going to send it out on email to everybody in my Sleep is Bliss community. So you also will get the YouTube version of it with a summary of what was discussed. So those of you that might have missed the original broadcast can get that email from me and kind of know, at what point I was answering some of your questions. And then lastly, those of you that are on the replay, if you do have questions that you have, feel free to just do #replay in the comments, and then I will know to kind of search for that and be able to respond to you. All right, so those are just some housekeeping items that I just wanted to talk about. And I'm going to get started on one of my first questions here, which is regarding, this is for Erin. Erin B is writing in from Texas. She has a 2-month-old newborn. Erin is actually a former client of mine. We sleep coached her first baby And now she has a newborn and she's 2 months in. And like every good mom that has already sleep trained, once they make sleep a priority in their house, when the second baby, when the third baby comes, when the fourth baby comes. And I think that with every child that comes a whole new approach to sleep. And that what you did with baby number one is going to be really different than what you did with baby number two. And then also in the case of Erin, now she's got two children to juggle, right? So she's got her older child and then she has her 2-month-old. And so this is always a balancing act. Like, you know, when we have one child, we're able to like hold them all day and have a more flexible schedule, and we might have more caregivers around to help us. But the reality is, you know, with us still living in what I call the land of COVID, you know, the opportunity for a family like Erin, where she's got an older sibling, it's possible that all the summer camps have been canceled, or any of the swim lessons have been canceled. I mean, it's possible for her that she is literally home all day with a newborn and a toddler, and there's no break. And it's also possible that any other caregivers, like grandparents or aunties that were planning on coming to visit or to help her, might not be available to come anymore. So, you know, one of the reasons why I want to talk about newborns today is that so many parents right now are experiencing all these different components of parenting, especially if they're adding a new child into their family unit, that there's just new obstacles. And it's like, oh my gosh, even if I think I knew a lot what to do, I don't know really what to do with this child because maybe they're different. Or even if you feel like you know what to do, then you've got all these other parenting obstacles because of scheduling changes and life changes, because we are still living, you know, in many places, very much shelter in place or having minimal opportunity to go out and about like we once did. So with that being said, let me just tell you a little bit more about Erin. So as I mentioned, Erin has a 2-month-old, and I know she obviously, because she's my past client, she has an older child as well. And what she's experiencing is that he's fighting his naps, and that it's taking her forever to get him to nap, and then because of that physicalness of her working really hard to get her child to sleep, then it's taking time away from her toddler, who also needs her attention too. So there's that you know, that terrible mommy guilt that we get when we're like trying to focus on one thing and then our, you know, the other child needs us and wants us. And so that's kind of her challenge. And kind of what her questions are is that, you know, how can I get this child to go to sleep? Number one. And then number two, like, how do I create a schedule for my newborn, because I also have to attend to the schedule of my older child. And number three, her other question is like, can I do sleep training, or you know, what can I do to just give me a little bit more rhythm in my household? So Erin, I'm going to do my best to kind of address all these concerns. So here's the thing, you guys. In the world of sleep science, the newborn phase is 0 to 6 months. It's a long period of very unpredictable sleep. And I know that's hard news to say because, you know, I'm a type A person and I love schedules and I love timelines. And many of my clients that work with me, they're exactly like me. And so this newborn phase is always difficult because of the extreme unpredictability. So again, Erin's got a 2-month-old. So what do we know about 2-month-olds? 2-month-olds are notorious for short naps. Totally notorious for short naps. So when I say short nap, I'm talking 20 to 30 minutes. Another problem that Erin's having is that if she actually successfully gets the baby to go to sleep and then she transfers, the baby either wakes up at the transfer or wakes up shortly thereafter. So that is like completely frustrating for her. And of course, it's very physical because you work very hard to get the baby to go to sleep, through the holding, rocking, shushing. And then when you go to have the perfect transfer, everything fails. So any of you that are newborn moms that are live right now that can relate to that, that have had what I call the transfer fail, I'd love to hear from you. And maybe how you manage your transfer fails, at least maybe manage it through your own mindset. But here's the deal. Newborn babies love to be held. Newborn babies typically will do a lot better in arms sleeping than out of arms. It just is who they are at 2 months of age. Newborn babies take short naps because they're in their nap cycle, they have a REM cycle, which is when they're going from deep sleep to light sleep. They have a REM cycle about every 10 to 30 minutes. So that means that if you successfully get a baby to go to sleep, potentially 10 minutes later or 20 minutes later or 40 minutes later, like they're going to have an arousal. And when they have the arousal, they're looking around and they're saying, hey, how did I go to sleep at the onset of sleep? Oh, I fell asleep in mom's arms. Now I'm in a different sleep position. I don't really know how to go back to sleep myself. I would love mom to pick me up again to help me consolidate that arousal. So not only do they have short sleep cycles in general, like in other words, they can wake up from a 30-minute nap and be fully refreshed and restored. And so what's very common in the newborn phase is to have multiple short naps all day. So what I tell newborns moms is to like really start to look at your life through the lens of kind of your day shift and your night shift. So I consider the day shift to be from the time that day that child woke up at the onset of sleep, the time of day that the child woke up that morning until your child fell asleep after their last feed at what you would be considered bedtime. That could be anywhere between an 11 and a 13-hour period. And so within that period, what we're looking for a 2-month-old is we want, frankly, is probably is 4.5 to 5 hours of daytime sleep spread between multiple naps. I mean, your child might actually have 5 naps a day. And the wakefulness period in between the nap cycles could be as tight as 60 to 90 minutes. So in other words, your child could wake up at 7 a.m., be asleep again by 8 a.m., be awake by 8:30, be asleep again by 9:30 or 10, and then asleep again. And it just goes round and round like that. So in Erin's case, this is probably what's happening, is that she's constantly trying to get a nap, and then the child does 30 minutes, and then there we go again. And she's got this older child she's trying to take care of. So what to do? So Erin, obviously wearing your baby is a great way to do that. Like anything that will allow you to be hands-free. So if your baby, you can wear them in an infant carrier. Some babies really love swings. And so, you always want to use the swing safely, right? So you want to strap them in. And sometimes babies in a swing really don't want to be in the family environment. They actually want to be in a cool, dark room to be able to extend that. Sometimes they need motion. So we sometimes have to do a slow rock on that. Those of you that are lucky enough to have the snoo, the vibration on the snoo can be really helpful to newborns. Those of you that have never heard of the snoo, I love the snoo. It is, they're expensive, but some people do rent them, which is really an amazing opportunity because you only really need it for a couple of months. So you guys can definitely look into that. And then, so Erin, so I know you're probably like, I know, Joanna, I've tried all these things. So here's the thing. One rule I always give newborn moms is if you're trying to get a nap and it's a newborn, give it 20 minutes. And if the things you're trying to help them go to sleep, such as feeding, rocking, holding, if within 20 minutes they're unable to fall into that sleep cycle, just give up on it. Because what happens a lot with newborns is that if they're fighting sleep and we as mother are getting nervous and frustrated and upset, the child will co-regulate with us, and the fact that we're deregulated makes them more deregulated. And so then all of a sudden there's just going to be no opportunity for the nap, because now we've got this kind of unsettled regulation going on between mother and child. So I always recommend that after 20 minutes of trying, if it's not working, or you can find yourself getting really anxious and frustrated, just go ahead and stop, shift activities, put your baby in the infant carrier just to give yourself a break, or put your baby down to give yourself a break. Go, get yourself some water, get a snack, maybe attend to your other child. And the newborn will probably give you some new signs within a half an hour that they're ready to try again. And that usually can help a lot of moms just release some of that anxiety about, my child's not napping and I'm freaking out, because skipped naps can be extremely disorienting for us mothers, especially the moms that know how wonderful it is when their baby sleeps, which is Erin's experience. And she's back in this newborn world where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so used to like a quiet house multiple times a day, and now I've got this baby that's awake all the time. It can be really, really difficult. Then she also asked, like, can I sleep train a newborn? Can I sleep train a 2-month-old? I personally do not believe in sleep training until a child is 6 months or older, or until the child is rolling confidently from front to back and back to front. So some babies will do that really early. I mean, they will do, like, I had a baby recently that we did some sleep coaching with that was 5 months. She did beautiful with sleep coaching because she had fully mastered the skill of rolling from front to back and back to front. And she had tremendous command of her body. And so the child was able to really develop some of her sleep skills, which is the ability to regulate, settle, and soothe to sleep. And with their ability to roll front to back and back to front, it creates a lot more opportunity for them to practice the settling and the soothing behaviors, which is really the secret behind successful sleep coaching. I know that a lot of people out there talk about sleep training 2, 3, and 4-month-olds. My experience of that is that sometimes they will have some results that kind of fill that gap between 2 months up until that first rolling milestone, which can be anywhere between 2 months and 5 months. Maybe they're able to do a little bit of what they call sleep training. But then typically right around the rolling milestone, everything tends to fall apart. And the methodology that they used in that earlier phase maybe doesn't work again when the child is a little bit older. So sometimes people have this experience of, I sleep trained my baby when they were 3 months of age, and then everything fell apart during the rolling milestone, and now I can't get my baby to sleep, and what I did back when they were 3 months doesn't work. That is common, you guys. And so when I think of sleep coaching, what I'm looking for is lasting, lifelong sleep skills. And what are those 3 sleep skills? They're the ability to self-regulate, followed by the ability to self-settle, followed by the ability to self-soothe. And that a child can learn how to do that at the onset of sleep at bedtime without anybody doing anything to and for them, meaning they're not being nursed to sleep, they're not being rocked to sleep, they're not being shushed or sang to sleep. They are literally totally content in their crib, drowsy but awake after really beautiful naps, and they are able to regulate, settle, and soothe themselves to sleep without anybody touching them or doing anything to and for them. And that they can use that same skill set that they used at the onset of sleep during every arousal cycle all night. that is what true lifelong healthy sleep skills look like. And so again, what happens to children when they are in this younger age set, like 2 months to 5 months or 2 months to 4 months before the rolling milestone, they don't have a lot of mobility. And so sometimes their capacity to settle and soothe is minimized. Some babies still have what's called the Moro reflex, where they startle themselves awake, or their arms flail and wake themselves up. Some children, when they're that young, get highly deregulated, and they really need the care and comfort of a parent's touch, smell, heat, and so sometimes if we try to sleep train too young, like, it just doesn't work. Or it will work for a little while and then it falls apart, or worse, it just doesn't work at all. And that's when moms get really, as they tell me, like, they just feel like they're a failure because they tried and it didn't work. And what I want to say to all newborn moms out there, like, the newborn phase is hard, and we shouldn't have these big expectations that we're going to have perfect sleepers. I think that unfortunately, somehow there's become a messaging that that babies should do exactly as we want them to do by certain ages and stages. And if they're not doing it in that way, then we as parent or we as mother are insufficient, and that we're not good enough, or that we did it wrong. And I just want to eliminate any of you out there that are feeling that kind of shame or guilt or self-doubt or extreme worry that you're doing it wrong or insufficiently in the newborn phase. It is a very unpredictable phase. And sometimes we just have to be super highly attentive to our babies. So with that being said, it is totally fine in the newborn phase to rock, to hold, to lay down with, to co-sleep, to nurse to sleep, to drive to sleep, to take stroller rides. Like, honestly, I'm of the philosophy that if you have a newborn, 0 to 6 months, typically that baby is going to need a lot of support to go to sleep and go back to sleep. And that you as parent shouldn't feel guilty about offering that support. You should feel really good about being able to offer that. This is such a beautiful time to build that connection and attachment and responsiveness between you and your child, and that trying to create rigid schedules or rigid do's and don'ts about kind of like sleep rules, or again, this concept of like, I'm going to sleep train my 2-month-old. Like, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that for the reasons I said earlier, because I don't think you get lasting results, and that's what I want for you. But I also think it can be really unfair to these babies that if we try to create rigidness around them when they need more of us, we're kind of missing a beautiful opportunity. So I just want to encourage those of you that have been feeling like you need to be rigid, or that you're super afraid of forming sleep crutches, and that you don't want to like make a mistake. I want you, if you're a newborn mom, I want you just to kind of abandon that. And I want you to kind of maybe take on a little bit more of my philosophy, which is the newborn phase is this magical time to know who your baby is, and to be responsive, and to understand what they're asking for, and that we don't need rigid schedules. We just need to be flowing with them. And so, Erin, I know that's probably not exactly what you wanted to hear, because I know you, and I know that you're like me, you love your schedules, but this little one, maybe we're not going to get that right now. But I think if you're following the child's sleep cues, and you're following the sleep windows, and you're asking for help from friends or relatives that are available, and maybe scheduling some play dates with your older child so that you do have some, time alone. And I always recommend that for newborn moms. Like, newborn moms need breaks. You need to get out of the house. You need to see your girlfriends. You need to run errands without a baby in your hand. I know it's harder to do during COVID time because we have less access to caregivers, but I think it's possible to get creative. And I think it's definitely possible to start forcing yourself to ask for more help from your your partner or anyone else, friends, anyone else, like anyone that's parented a newborn, they're going to want to help because number one, newborns are so beautiful and so wonderful to spend time with. But number two, they're going to have empathy that you are asking for help, and I'm sure they'll be willing to. So I also, so any of you here that have newborns, I want to see, let's see if there's any comments. Anyone in here that's live that is in newborn land and is like, ah, help me. I'd love to hear from you. Okay. So on that note, as I told you guys, I was going to be talking about newborns today. So let me talk to you about a couple new things. So, you know, here's the deal. Like we're in the land of COVID, but people are still getting pregnant. People are still having babies. Depending on where you are in the country, sometimes there's still a lot of rules and regulations around whether or not who can come visit you in the hospital or who can even be attending your birth. It's still a very awkward time to be at the end term of your pregnancy and to be in a situation where you're, you know, giving birth. And I just want to say I have complete empathy for all those moms that are in that. But I do have some help for you guys because I know help is sometimes hard to come by in the land of COVID. So I know this amazing woman. Her name is Anne McCurnick, and she's an early childhood specialist. And not only that, but she's a mother, a grandmother, and she has fostered 5 babies. She's fostered 5 babies as well as been a grandmother and had her own children. So if there's one woman I know that knows newborns better than anybody, it is Anne McCormick. And Anne McCormick has a new mini course out that she really knew needed to come out right now in the land of COVID because, again, there's like lack of access to the doula to come over, to the grandma to come visit, to your best friend to come over and help you. And so she's put together a mini course that is specifically designed to tell you everything you need to know in the first 10 days of getting home from the hospital. Okay, it is so brilliant. I've gone through the whole program because I just love newborns and I love learning about them. And Anne is like the one that knows all things newborn. And so she has this new incredible mini course, and it is, in fact, Anastasia, can you post the link right now for Anne's mini course? Okay, so any of you that are pregnant right now or are about to give birth or have just given birth and you're in those first, 2 weeks having gotten home from the hospital, you totally need to get access to this mini course like ASAP. Because she is going to go through so much incredible material from everything from the basics of like how to bathe your baby, how to swaddle your baby, how to determine which cries mean which, how to get your baby to stop crying. Okay. I mean, again, her breadth of knowledge is so vast, and she's put this into a really great, it's both a video and an audio. So she's doing live video for you on demonstrations and then giving you all this background information on newborns. But here's the best part. Some of you that are moms that are listening to this are like, I've done all my reading and my girlfriends have told me what to do. Okay, but guess what, you guys? Here's the problem. A lot of dads have not been doing their research. A lot of dads aren't talking to other people about all these things that they're going to be required to know and do and respond for in their babies. And it is very overwhelming for the dads because you probably have a breadth of knowledge that they don't even have. And so at the very least, even if you're a mom and you're like, you know what, I got this, I've totally got it. then buy this for your husband. um, I think it's $49, you guys. It's so crazy affordable because it's so much good material. But anyway, dads need support in those first 10 days. You need, as the mother of a newborn, you are going to need help. And you are going to want to immediately integrate dad into the helping. Because again, if you guys are pregnant right now, you have no idea what you're going to feel like after your birth. Sometimes it's like you need so much care and recovery that dad is going to have to be the one to do the majority of the caregiving. And let's give dad the gift of being able to be successful. I mean, it's Father's Day's coming up. Like, what a great, fun, cute gift you could give to a dad that's expecting a child, to gift him this course and go through the course together and talk about it and help build dad's confidence. Because we want dads to get involved from the very, very start, and we want them to have their confidence from the very, very start. So I'm going to highly recommend, I see that Anastasia has posted that. It's called the Quick Start Guide for Newborns. And the website is Nurtured Noggins /Quick Start Guide for Newborns. And her name is Anne McCormick. And she has two websites. One is Nurtured Noggins, and the other one is TexasChildCareTraining.com. And again, she is an expert in newborns, and that's why I wanted to bring this resource to you guys, because again, if you don't need it, then I am sure you have a pregnant friend, then make sure she's got this information. And if not for her, then for her husband that really would benefit from the material. So with that being said, I wanted to share some really cool facts that Anne and I were discussing about newborns that, you know, again, I know a lot, but I love learning. And I love it when I see something from a new perspective or learn something new that I hadn't before about newborns. So here's a couple of cool things. Number one, a 1-day-old baby will eat about 1 tablespoon of formula or breast milk at a time. That's only a half of an ounce, like teeniest little bit. And that's why they have to eat so often, and they just can't hold very much at a time. So those of us that are breastfeeding, especially at the very beginning, you know, it's a process. And the reason why it's a process is because the baby is learning and you're learning. So that's like 2 learning curves coming together. And then at the same time, even if you have a great feeding, think about it. A 1-day-old, 1 tablespoon. Amazing, right? So that first day when you're breastfeeding your baby, you're doing 1 tablespoon. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it sure is a miracle, isn't it? It's a miracle. Newborns, here's another cool fact. Newborns prefer the sound of their mom's voice over anyone else's because they've been hearing it in the womb. If someone is holding your baby and they cry, they'll likely stop when you hold and talk to them. So with that being said, you know, it's customary, obviously, when we have a newborn that everybody wants to come visit. And it's super fun to show off your newborn. Again, we're in the land of COVID, so maybe that's not happening as much. But here's the thing. Too many visitors equals overwhelm and overstimulation to the baby. So I want you all, if you have big dreams of like having a stream of visitors, limit it, limit to maybe 1 or 2 per day, if that, because it can be extremely overstimulating to the child and you know, and really exhausting for you because, you know, people are going to be coming into your house and they're going to want to talk to you and you're still recovering. So conserve your energy, especially those first 2 weeks. Keep it quiet. That's always my recommendation. Here's another fun fact. Newborns love to look at faces, especially your face as you feed them. That's why they like to be really close, because they like to study your face. Research shows that if a picture of a scrambled face or upside down face is shown to a newborn, they know it and look away. That's really cool, right? So if you think about it, like depending on how they're looking at you, they're looking up at you or down, you're looking down at them. It's like just really fascinating. And Anne also told me that when they're looking at your face, that they are it's like those that gazing that they're doing is really the first parts of their attachment to you. So spending time with that newborn baby, those first 10 days, spending a lot of time holding and gazing when they're alert and they want to gaze is a beautiful bonding experience for you, but it's also part of their attachment process, which is why having a quiet house and having that time when you can gaze at each other is such a beautiful thing. Here's another fun fact. It's a lot easier to suck a bottle than a breast. Those of us that have struggled with breastfeeding totally know that. I did. I struggled with breastfeeding. It was hard. And it says, that's why it takes a while for breastfeeding to be easy for both mom and baby. The first 10 to 14 days are a time of learning. If given both, many babies will eventually only take the bottle. So that's a tough one, right? So, the desire to breastfeed, or the opportunity, I should say, how about that? The opportunity for breastfeed, there's so many variables, right? It's the variable of how's your milk supply? How's that nursing relationship going? Is it working for you? Is it working for the baby? Did you get good support with a lactation consultant? Did you give it enough time? Are you well rested enough to be able to nurture your milk supply? There's so much factors that go into beginning or attempting a successful nursing relationship. And I always recommend to all the parents that I work with that are expecting a baby, like first line of defense, if at all possible, have a lactation consultant you've already been in contact with, that you have a relationship with, preferably one that will come to your home if you're not in a shelter in place location, or at the very least is comfortable and competent doing Zoom with helping you identify some of the problems. It is a lifesaver to have a trusting relationship with a lactation consultant in those first several months of nursing. They will, and again, those of you that have used a doula or midwife during your pregnancy or your birth, or even if you didn't do that, but you have access to a doula after, these individuals are angels because they will be there to support you emotionally and physically. They are there to give you beautiful, important information to help the nursing relationship blossom and to make it easiest on you and easiest on the baby. Because again, it is such a massive learning process for both of you. And so just be patient with yourself and patient with your baby. And again, don't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes, the pediatrician's office doesn't have enough resources for you. And it's unfortunate, but that happens a lot. And I would say that it is always worth the money to go and get individualized support with a lactation consultant. And, make sure they're trained and certified and all that good stuff. We want that. But definitely having that person to talk to you about your specific, unique situation is so great. Oh my gosh. Lisa just typed and said that she can't hear me. Oh my gosh. Anastasia, can you hear me? Oh no. Oh my gosh. All right, somebody type in, can you guys hear me? I need to hear if you can't hear me. This would just be crazy if I've been talking this whole time. Okay. It says that my mic is working. Oh my gosh. Now Lisa says she can hear me. Oh my gosh. Anastasia, have you been able to hear me from the beginning? I'm going to be mortified if I've been talking for 45 minutes and no one can hear me. Okay. All right. All right. Some people are saying they can hear me. Some people are saying they can't hear me. Oh no. Oh my gosh, you guys. I feel like I'm always getting tech world. Okay. All right. So let me tell you one more fun fact. Newborns have no concept of day and night. It will come eventually. Oh, yes. Babies like that love to flip flop their days. They love to flip their days and their nights. It's unfortunate. Okay, it says, if you can't hear Joanna, click out of video and come back. All right, so hopefully Lisa can try. Lisa is thinking it's her that can't hear me. And Anastasia's giving her a tip. Okay, so sorry, you guys. Last week, Eva was here, and Eva C. from Nebraska had a 12-week-old. And I answered a lot of her questions because she was doing a great job following, the 60 to 90-minute wake window. And she's, has been really getting, her big question is should I get my 3-month-old on a set schedule? And how do I encourage this baby to stay asleep? And what do I do about the 4-month-old sleep regression? So let me just kind of answer Eva's questions again, just because I want to make sure she got this information, because she's doing a great job trying to help her newborn. But I just want to make sure I round it up for her. So Eva's having an issue where dad is not successful with helping the baby go to sleep. And dad gets frustrated. Again, super common. But here's the thing, mamas. Don't let dad get in a situation where he gets frustrated and then he goes, you do it. And then all of a sudden you're back with being the only one that can be successful with the baby. That will set you up for a whole nother host of marital issues. I'm sorry to be speaking so frankly. Oh my gosh, but that's where resentments get built in. This is when sitting down with husband, when your child is maybe with somebody else, or when your child's asleep, and you just sit down and just lovingly say, like, sweetie pie, honey, the one I love, the one I married, the one I'm committed to, I can tell you're getting frustrated when you're trying to help with our baby. I understand. I don't understand who this little human is any more than you do. So I know you're looking at me as the expert, because I'm mom and this baby was inside me for 9 months, but I'm no more of an expert than you, and that we have to work together on figuring out how you're able to provide support to the baby and how I provide support. And this is where us as mothers, we really need to step back and give more opportunity for the dad to be alone with the child, to make their own mistakes and to build that bond and to find their own way with how they can care and comfort with their child without the mom around. Because as the fun fact that Anne told us specifically is, she said newborns, prefer their moms. And the reason why is that they're used to that mom's voice for 9 months, all day, every single time that mother speaks. And typically, because newborns build their attachment through gazing, especially if we're attempting a nursing relationship, we are going to be gazing at our baby a lot more than dad is. So those two things already kind of put dad behind, a little bit like behind in their ability to develop the relationship and the attachment with the newborn. And so it is a deliberate choice on behalf of the mom to step back and allow dad individual time without her in the room to interact, gaze, build attachments, and attempt caretaking activities with the baby. Because when a mom is in the room, dad's going to be felt judged, and he's going to maybe feel judged, or he might feel like you're bossing him, or he might feel criticized, or he might feel self-conscious. Okay. Anytime we're trying to learn something new, those are about the 4 worst things that can happen to us when we're trying anything new. He is going to be petrified caring for a newborn. We're all petrified caring for a newborn. Even though we're super happy to be a mom and we're super excited, it's scary to be like, give a newborn a bath. Or if the child has a blowout, and to like be successful at cleaning it up appropriately. Like, these are all the things like Anne talks about, right? I mean, and we as parents, especially dads, have to have an opportunity to grow into that. And if we are hovering, it's harder for them. So one of the big things I talked to Eva about last week in her question was, dad's going to get frustrated, and it's going to make him more frustrated if you're always letting him pass the baby back to you, and then he has to relinquish any responsibility for making a deliberate effort to do better. And we as mother have to get out of the way so that he can have some privacy to bond with his baby where they don't feel judged or criticized. So that's why I recommend having a really heartfelt, loving conversation with your spouse about how intentional you have to be to create that space for the dad to do some caregiving. And that's why I love Anne's course, because right there from the first 10 days, you're getting him involved. You're delegating some responsibilities that he can feel really empowered. And I can tell you, you guys, dads that are successful in swaddling babies or successful in the 4 S's, gosh, his name is right on the top of my list. It will come to me. But the 4 S's, which is, the swaddling, the shushing, the shaking, dads are really good at that in those first 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks we consider the 4th trimester. Dads that are empowered with those tools, the 4 S's, and the tools that Anne talks about in her course, they are the dads that are like, I'll take care of the baby, because they can be so unbelievably successful with a newborn. And you want them to be successful with a newborn. And because you need to have time for yourself, or time to recover, or time to take a nap, or time to do something for yourself. And I'm sorry, I'm just totally on the soapbox today, you guys. I hope you don't mind. I'm very passionate about making sure moms take good care of themselves. Okay, so, and then kind of again, Eva, like I was saying earlier to Aaron, I know that you're saying, I want my 3-month-old to be on a set schedule. Sometimes there are these miraculous, easy, mellow babies that just kind of naturally start sleeping, and we don't have to do anything to make that happen. And they just are these miraculous sleepers. Most moms I talk to, that's not who they have it living in their household. So I think it's unrealistic to ask a 3-month-old to be on the schedule that you want. I think what is appropriate is to learn what their sleep cues are, what their awake windows are, what their preferred sleep crutches are, and also to delegate out to the other caregivers that you have available out to you so they can be successful in helping the baby go to sleep and go back to sleep. It can't just be all on you. And it will happen that way unless you make a deliberate action to not have it be that way. Yeah, so Eva is having the same issue as Erin, that she has a 4-year-old at home, and she's like, I have no time for myself, and I have no time for the 4-year-old, and I have no time to work out, and I have no time to meal prep. So who else is here that has 2 children and find that they have no time for themselves, no time to work out, and no time to meal prep? Oh my gosh, it's probably everyone here. If you're a mom, there are going to be periods of your life where that is like so the truth, but we have to be really, 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 really um, diligent as mothers to set up our family systems so that we actually can create time for ourselves and for our self-care, such as working out, and for other self-care, such as meal prep, because, meal prepping on a Sunday afternoon can make all the difference for the whole week. Um, but I think, Eva, I wish I could say I could wave a magic wand and say this is the perfect sleep schedule for a 3-month-old, but I don't think it's realistic. And so I'd rather have us have appropriate expectations around life with a newborn rather than to set what we think we want it to look like and then have it look completely different and then have us shift as mothers back into this zone of doubt and worry and feeling insufficient as a mother, feeling like we're messing up. I don't want you living in that land. I want you to feel rather that if you're a mother of a newborn, that you can love on them, be responsive to them. You can use sleep crutches and it's not going to ruin them for life. That you can ask for help, and that's the best thing you can do. And you can provide deliberate opportunities for dad to get involved. That, I think, is a more realistic approach to life with a newborn. So anyway, I'm just wrapping up again. I just would really encourage you, if you have any friends that are pregnant right now, or if you are pregnant now or have friends that are pregnant right now, or if you are a brand new mother of a child under 2 weeks of age, you totally want to get Anne's course. It's going to be life-changing for you. If not you, it will be life-changing for the dad that views it. Father's Day is coming up. So those of you that are expecting a baby, that could be like a really cute, sweet component to your Father's Day gift. I just want everyone to know I do not have any financial affiliation with Anne or anything. Like I'm promoting this because I'm getting lots of questions every day about newborns, and Anne is the place to be to learn about newborns. And so my whole thing is I want to share accurate and reliable information for all of the mommies that take the time to watch this. And so I am providing one of those wonderful resources that can be so valuable. So Anastasia, can you do 2 more things for me? Can you post again the link for Anne's mini course? And also, can you post the link for any moms to ask any other questions for me? Remember, you guys, I'm not going to be doing a Facebook Live on June 25th, but I will be back on July 2nd. And so that gives you plenty of opportunity to fill out the form so that I can answer your specific questions. Like always, if anyone is watching, or even like if Eva or Aaron are like, Joanna, I loved all the things you told me on the Facebook Live. It was super helpful, but I need more. I need to ask you more questions. I need more support. I need to get on the phone when my husband's on the phone so he can hear this. Then I always welcome families to make an individual appointment with me where we can talk about your unique situation, because there's nothing like being able to get down into the nitty-gritty and really understanding your child's sleep and getting results and feeling like you're in a unified front with your partner or with the other caregivers. It's so powerful. And thank you, Anastasia just posted how to make an appointment to speak with me. So I'm just going to scroll through and see if there's any last minute questions, thoughts, concerns. If anyone had any aha moments or any tips on how you've managed to help dad get involved, or how you managed your way through the newborn phase, would love to hear from you right now before I close out our broadcast. And Lisa, I'm so sorry that you had some difficulty with my sound. I'm hoping no one else did. Okay. Just looking to see. Okay. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great week. I look forward to being here in 2 weeks to answer all your sleep questions. And I love helping you and offering you my perspective of after having 10 years of experience of working with families and being a mother myself. So thanks so much. You guys take care. Bye.